Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are at Autodrom Most and we are ready for another race, third out of 9 of our Sunday program here with the Eset Cup Series 2024 round in Most. Really depends on which championship you're currently following, because not everybody is following exactly the same calendar. The Swift Cup Europe is now ready for its second race of the weekend out of 3. The third one coming up a little later on, of course. And this is your starting grid with the Polish driver, Fabian Dibionka, sat on pole position. Alongside him, Dutch driver Toon Knappen. We again have got two classes, 1.4 turbo, 1.6 naturally aspirated engine. Row number 2, that's Oskar Marszalkowski and Vin Cekeler in P4. Istvan Bernula in 5th, Balázs Hartmann in 6th, Moritz Čermej in 7th, and yesterday's winner Zsombor Pinter in 8th, Gabor Foraj in 9th. From Martoncsúzi, Max Knappen and Bastian Frischmann. That is your 12 cars from the 1.4 turbo class behind them. And you also see that one row is deliberately empty. That's just to separate the two grids from one another, because these cars have a slightly different performance level. It is Ferenc Hartmann leading the 1.6 class from 13th on the grid overall, but first in his category, alongside Greta Gal. Behind them, Maciej Szubczynski, Boris Lisiecki and Zoltán Csuti, completing the starting grid here in Most, 4,212 meters. And as you may see, the track is now predominantly dry. We had two wet-ish races. It was raining heavily overnight yesterday and still drizzling today in the morning. But then the rain stopped, and it shouldn't be coming back. But who knows? The clouds are still in the sky, and the weather is actually a little unpredictable. However, after two races with mostly wet track, it is now mostly dry. There are still some small spots left, small puddles, but this is definitely a dry condition. We had two races that was started behind the safety car, the Renault Twingo race and the Formula 4 race. Now we're expecting the Suzuki Swift Cup race to start from firm grid positions. The drivers are now halfway through the formation lap. This is the troublesome quick corner number 7, through which we are getting to the back part of the circuit, or let's say to the final part of the circuit. Twisty corners, right, left, right. Really difficult in terms of finding and maintaining the best racing line. But you've got to keep it all together to make the best possible exit out of the following right-hander. That brings you to the, not exactly a straight, but full speed section leading to the final two corners. This is it. And through the final two corners back onto the start and finish straight here in Most. So cars returning back onto the start and finish straight, basically the starting grid. It is actually Moritz Čermej leading the standings in the championship by 2 points, 140 from Balázs Hartmann with 138. But it is Fabian Dibionka, sat on pole position in his car number 501. So let's get going in this race. Front row, Fabian Dibionka, alongside him, Ton Knappen. Everything seems to be ready, so the red lights are coming on. The red lights are off and we are racing in Most. Dibionka from pole position immediately slots in front and cuts across the track to cut off any potential fight from Ton Knappen, but Knappen didn't really have the best of starts and is immediately eaten by his rivals coming from behind. Very briskly into the first chicane, but uneventfully through. No incidents. That was a good drive from everybody. Everybody left enough space for everybody else through the opening sequence of corners. And it is Dibionka leading, presumably from Oskar Maršalkovský. We also see István Bernula in that predominantly black car coming up to third. And Moritz Čermej also coming through. Balázs Hartmann, in the meantime, seems to have got up to fifth. Ton Knappen dropping it down to sixth from the front row start. So not the best opening lap for the Dutch driver. Fabian Dibionka, on the other hand, leading us out, or leading us off through the first lap. Ton Knappen under yet more pressure. Ooh, and actually being very wide indeed under the gantry. Luckily managed to somehow keep in control of the car as he was returning back on the track. So he went through the gravel. I was expecting a bad scenario, because if you lose control and then suddenly spin back onto the track, you may be hit by somebody else. Luckily that did not happen, and Ton Knappen safely back. He kept it on the inside. This is the car number 523, driven by Marton Čuzy, the orange car. But here we are further up the field. Balázs Hartmann trying to find his way through in that yellow and black Swift. Behind him with 587, that is Zsombor Pinter, yesterday's race winner. And they are both fighting with the car number 521, the white car of Vince Keller. Dibionka still leading. Oskar Maršalkovský up to second. István Bernula in that black car with the green roof, or cyan roof, if you will. Vince Keller in fourth. He's managed to maintain his position from the starting grid. Balázs Hartmann climbing up to fifth. From Zsombor Pinter, Moritz Čermej, the championship leader, in P7. Behind them in that other mostly yellow car with blue highlights. Balázs Hartmann sending it around the outside into turn number 8, but not really succeeding and actually losing ground in the process. That wasn't the best of strategies through there, and in the end he loses pace and loses a place to Zsombor Pinter, who was waiting to pounce, and immediately as the opportunity presented itself, he took it right away. Vince Keller defending now from a different opponent. Still, it's a Hungarian fight. And back onto the start and finish straight. You might notice that the time is running out a little faster than usual. That is because Suzuki Swift Cup is following a little different time pattern, and we've got 20-minute races plus 1 lap. Zsombor Pinter taking another spot off the hands of a countryman. This is with Vince Keller, side by side through the opening chicane, just like Moritz Schermay. Battling Balázs Hartmann, but not succeeding. And I believe that Zsombor Pinter has actually overtaken Vince Keller. Yes, he has. And he's already gained a couple of meters on him. So he's chasing after the top trio right now. He's after István Bernula, another countryman. But it is a Polish 1-2 for the moment. Fabian Dybionka leading from Oskar Marszalkowski. Don Knappen already down in 8th from Gabor Foray and Marton Čuzy. Another battle, Vince Keller having trouble staying on pace. He's hard under pressure from Balázs Hartmann and Moritz Schermay. Vince Keller glued on the inside line, trying to defend. And now Balázs Hartmann opening the door for Schermay, who was immediately inviting himself in side by side, the two yellow cars coming through the final corner. And Balázs Hartmann losing and more ground in the process, just like previously. So not a great fighting today for Balázs Hartmann. This time it's the championship leader taking a spot off his hands. They are both championship contenders, but now Schermay getting himself rather easily ahead of Keller. Balázs Hartmann has to follow through, and he does. They are still running side by side, but this time Balázs Hartmann is already ahead, under-braking into the left-hander. Dybionka leading by 0.7 of a second from his countryman Marszalkowski. István Bernula also very close behind, but yesterday's race winner Zsombor Pinter, he's up to 4th. Pinter, by the way, lapping rather quickly and getting back in touch, getting in touch with István Bernula. That will already be for a podium position, but this is a Polish fight for the race lead right now. Dybionka defending from Marszalkowski, already choosing the defensive line as Marszalkowski is trying to slipstream past his countryman. This is not going to be enough. They are getting closer to one another through the opening chicane. And behind them it is already Pinter troubling Bernula for 3rd. Trying to look left and right for opportunities. Now into the hairpin. Slow right-hander that takes us on a crucial straight towards the fearsome, very quick turn number 7. That is it. Fast right-hander at the bottom of the hill. And we're now climbing up towards the Orlen gantry. Another crucial right-hander at the beginning of a twisty section. It's absolute key to stay glued on the inside here in the left-hander, to open it up and open the taps as soon as possible for the final straight, leading to the final two corners as we are approaching the halfway mark of this race. Not everybody eligible for the points for the international standings. We've got Moritz Čermej leading the championship from Balázs Hartmann, and then István Bernula. And Zsombor Pinter finally making a move down the inside on Bernula, coming through in his car number 587, the predominantly orange Suzuki Swift. Yesterday's race winner Zsombor Pinter, he is actually getting himself in a nice position where he might actually fight for another victory. But this time not from pole, this time actually from 8th on the grid, and that would be quite a performance from the Hungarian. Zsombor Pinter, however, fighting in the Hungarian Championship. Even in that one, he is behind Moritz Čermej and Balázs Hartmann, but he only misses 10 points on the championship leader, Moritz Čermej. So this is definitely helping him massively in the standings. Dybionka and Marszalkowski, the only two cars in the Polish championship. Dybionka leading from Marszalkowski. Another defensive line from Dybionka. Marszalkowski staying in close second, but they have to keep in mind that Zsombor Pinter is getting closer and closer. It is actually Moritz Čermej, however, with the fastest lap of the race so far, 156.0. On the previous lap, however, Dybionka 156.9. Marszalkowski 56.8, and at the same time Zsombor Pinter 156.4, so he reduced that gap by another half a second, and as you can see, he's now getting really in touch with the Polish duo, so they will be fighting for the race victory in the remaining 7 minutes plus 1 lap. Moritz Čermej in that yellow car, also trying to get closer. So is Balázs Hartmann, but he's already losing a little bit more than everybody else. Not really keeping up at the moment. And look at Zsombor Pinter finding great pace this weekend in his Swift. This track seems to suit him well. And this was a very good exit. This was a very good exit. Behind Marszalkowski, who is already having to refocus rather behind himself through the final two corners, and Pinter is very close indeed, but so is István Bernula, not giving up on podium hopes today. There we go, a slipstreaming battle down the pit straight. Alongside the pit wall, Marszalkowski weaving his car. Zsombor Pinter lining up for a move down the inside. He's trying to stick his nose in, but Marszalkowski cutting him off. That was very aggressive from the Polish driver, but that keeps him in second for the moment. But look at this. Fabian Di Bianca already exploiting the situation and trying to get ahead and get away. But Jean-Bor Pinter with much better drive through turn 7. Istvan Bernal also tried to stick his nose in the mix and make it 3 wide, but there was not enough space in the end. This is still a side-by-side action, but Oskar Marszalkowski keeping second, but only just. He really had to dig deep there to keep the second place. This is giving Fabian Di Bianca the much needed breathing space, and this could be the key push, the crucial push for the race victory. Moritz Čermej in the meantime getting side by side with Istvan Bernula, trying to steal fourth from him, which he does for the moment. Moritz Čermej coming through, the championship leader, sneaking through. Jean-Bor Pinter making another move, Marszalkowski cutting him off once again. Moritz Čermej now firmly in fourth. Ooh, but Istvan Bernal, look at that. Cutting across the chicane to send Čermej sideways a bit. The driver of the yellow car managed to correct it and stay in the correct direction. Just as Jean-Bor Pinter launches another fight against Marszalkowski for second. Di Bianca, in the meantime, already gains nearly 2 seconds over everybody else. 1.6, that was over the line, but we are already halfway through the following lap. 3 minutes, 15 seconds left on the clock. We need to keep in mind that we're doing +1 lap with the Suzuki Swift. This is the car number 544. That's Zoltán Chuty. He's actually third in the 1.4 class, 1.6 class. It is, again, a Polish 1-2 there as well in the 1.4. It's Maciej Szubczynski leading from Borys Lisiecki. But there we go. And look at that. Jean-Bor Pinter has been really fast and troubling the race leaders, but he has not been successful in getting through. And it is now Moritz Čermej sticking his car down the inside and stealing third from Jean-Bor Pinter, cutting him off right away. And it might now be him trying to chase after the race leaders. Well, Di Bianca putting yet more gap between himself and everybody else. We're running across the line. Still a couple of laps to go. 3, in fact, it should be. Moritz Čermej now keeping third, shedding a piece of bodywork, making his car lighter. Or maybe that was a piece of debris already lying on the track. Either way, Istvan Bernal also trying to have some of that for himself, from 5th currently. Balázs Hartmann in the distance, not really getting any closer right now. But Fabian Di Bianca already leading by 2.6 seconds over the line, and this is actually a crucial advantage. He's really used that situation that unraveled behind his back to his advantage, and I believe that this might be the crucial gap that he needs, because we've got, I would say, 2.5 laps left from home. And Fabian Di Bianca, although he is still in the same picture, he's now had to lap one of the back markers. He has got a key advantage to everyone else with a minute left on the clock. Jean-Bor Pinter has not lived up to the expectations yet. Just a couple of laps back, he looked like a serious threat for the race leaders, but he's now demoted back to 4th by Moritz Čermej, and the championship leader has been really doing a great job, and that is why he's leading the championship, because he's not really looked like the fastest guy on the track, but steadily he's been making progress, and all of the moves he's made were very quick and absolutely spot on, and he's been just taking positions off his opponents, and he's doing that yet again, sending it down the inside on Oskar Marszalkowski. Another great move by the championship leader. Marszalkowski trying to fight back, but this was not a bad exit from Chermay. But look at Marszalkowski. Marszalkowski, absolutely huge defense. But look at Pinter also being very close. Marszalkowski somehow keeping second yet again. It already looked again that he's lost it for good, but still he managed a way better exit out of the first chicane and got himself back ahead. Now this wasn't the best of exits, out of the hairpin. Moritz Chermay ready to pounce. The time is up, so we still have that +1 lap left. Fabian Dybionka, if nothing wrong happens to him, this should only be his race to lose. Moritz Chermay sending it again down the inside on Marszalkowski, giving him a little push, unsettling his car and sending him even behind Zsombor Pinter. That was rather smartly done by Chermay, who decided to cut off any fight back from the Polish driver and dropping him from second to fourth directly. He is now having to fight or defend from Zsombor Pinter, but Pinter unable to stage any fight, and we are slowly coming onto the final lap of the race with Dybionka leading by over 2 seconds. For Moritz Chermay, this should prove to be a little too far behind. Final lap of the race. But Zsombor Pinter trying to make a move. Moritz Chermay only giving him the outside line into the chicane. Yet more body parts falling off the cars. This is still a tense and close fight for second, third and fourth. Fabian Dybionka should be safe. He really exploited that situation, that fight to his advantage, and got that crucial gap, put that cushion behind him. And now he just needs to perfect the final corners to score a victory here in Most. But Moritz Chermay will have to defend from Zsombor Pinter and Oskar Marszalkowski. It sort of looks like Marszalkowski seemed to be a little out of breath at the moment. István Bernula still trying to get closer. He feels there might be fourth place up for grabs through the final 2 corners and maybe onto the finish straight. This is the final lap of the race. Dybionka 3 seconds clear of everyone else. This is the back straight. Fabian Dybionka already on the camera. Moritz Chermay, he will not give this for free. And now we are making our way around the final corner. It was Zsombor Pinter yesterday, but he's not going to win this one. It is Fabian Dybionka scoring that victory from pole position. He really had to fight for it, but made all the critical moves that he needed, and he is victorious here in Most in the second race out of 3. Moritz Chermay, the championship leader. Beautiful build-up and gradual fight from 8th on the grid. Sorry, actually from 7th on the grid. Zsombor Pinter, he went through the field really quickly, but then his progress was halted, and in the end he's beaten by Moritz Chermay to second. Zsombor Pinter has to make do with third for today. It is then Oskar Marszalkowski in fourth from István Bernula, Balázs Hartmann coming home in sixth, Vince Keller in seventh, Gábor Foraj 8th, Marton Csuzy in 9th, and Ton Knappen from the front row of the grid to 10th. Behind him Max Knappen and Bastian Frischmann. And this is the end of the 1.6 class race as well. And it is a Polish 1-2 for Maciej Szubczynski and Boris Lisiecki. Behind them, Zoltán Chutik, Greta Gal, and the only driver not finishing today's race, Ferenc Hartmann. That was a great, eventful race. We still have one more to go in the Suzuki Swift Cup Europe for this weekend. That will actually close the program for today. Later in the afternoon, around 5 o'clock. Coming up next is the second race of the TCR Eastern Europe, then the second GT Sprint. We're going to offer you the grid walks for those two once again. After that, it is the second race of the Renault Clio Cup, and the third race of the Formula 4, then second race of the Renault Twingo Cup, and the third race of the Suzuki Swift Cup Europe. So still 6 races left to go in our Sunday program, and with the cars returning back to the Parc Fermé, it will slowly be it for the Suzuki Swift Cup Challenge. So, preliminary results on offer for you, with Fabian Di Bianca victorious from Moritz Chermay and Jean-Bor Pinter. And we will be back very soon for the TCR Eastern Europe directly from the grid. So make sure that you do not miss that one.